Welcome to Crossroads. I'm your host, Joshua Phillip. Today we have Mike Vogler, Vice President of the Tax Foundation, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, real pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Yeah.
So tell us about some of the work you do.
Me personally or the Tax Foundation?
The Tax Foundation.
Tax Foundation is a national think tank that's focused on tax policy. We work with governors and state legislators. Many legislators are here. There might be some governors here that know our work. Work with members of Congress, media, just everyday citizens to try to improve our nation's tax systems.
I understand you're not going to extremes. You're not saying get rid of all taxes and let's go back to funding the government through tariffs and stuff like that. You're saying maybe some taxes, but maybe rational taxes. And so is that accurate?
That's right. We're not the no tax group. We are. We have a set of principles. We believe everyone should pay towards the cost of government, but we believe that the rates should be low, the base should be broad, the taxes should be transparent, taxes should be stable, they shouldn't change from year to year, and they should not get in the way of investment and private investment and make our country more competitive, make our states competitive. Lower taxes on business, lower taxes on investment and capital. Those are the things that we believe drive economic growth.
Yeah, and that's something we've actually seen under the Trump administration so far, is that, he lowered taxes, and people were saying, you lowered taxes, we're not going to get enough tax revenue coming back. But what ended up happening is we had an economic boom, right?
Well, we certainly have low unemployment. We certainly have economic growth. I think if you read the news, you hear every day that the recession's coming. So when that gets here, let me know. But yeah, wages are up. I mean, not in every sector of the economy, but in many sectors of the economy. I think anything that makes the U.S. more competitive from an income tax perspective is good. We do not necessarily look favorably on tax codes that try to redistribute from the top and give to the bottom, if you will. We don't believe in punitive taxation. Yeah, there were some good things in the tax bill that got the country made the country more competitive on a global basis, and because of that, I think you're seeing more investment going on.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that even a lot of the early conservatives, they were against the interventionist and distributionist policies, which socialism was based in, of course, and mainly based on the idea that these are things that will harm society in the long run. Frederick Bastiat, actually a classical liberal, now I think very much liked by libertarians, funny enough, but in his book The Law, talks about the idea of what the effects of distributionist policies. He called it plunder. When people use the powers of government as a force to rob another class of people. And what are the long-term implications of that? Well, eventually the robbed class is going to either stop bothering producing the thing that they're being robbed of, or they're going to go somewhere else. And I think that was one of the arguments, brought up in a different light when it came to tax policy in the U.S., that if you overtax corporations, you overtax businesses, then those who are able to move their businesses elsewhere are going to do so, and you're going to lose all those taxes anyways.
That's true. Yeah. The jobs are going to go with them. It's tough to cut through the rhetoric that you hear in the media. I think the tax code's used kind of as a weapon in many respects to bludgeon those who have been successful. And those who have been successful pay the most taxes in the country. And if you continually pass policies, pass laws that are good politically, but not necessarily good economically, I don't think that really benefits everybody. It might feel good for a while, but at the end, it's you're gonna get lower growth. You're gonna get lower investment. That doesn't help. That doesn't help the whole country. So,
and not to mention the fact that when people criticize business and criticize capitalism and criticize, people going out and creating things that do make money, what they don't realize is that the social policies that they know and love and believe are like the greatest thing humankind can aspire to, some of these people, comes from people going out and building businesses and making money and things like that. As soon as you start inhibiting that, right, then the system starts collapsing.
Yeah, that's right.
The tax revenue comes from taxes, and the taxes, like you said, the ones who pay the most into it are the people who are successful and who do make a lot of money. As soon as government starts inhibiting that, then where are they going to get their money from?
Well, think about like your public school systems, and how are your public school systems funded? So, I've been at the Tax Foundation for almost 9 years now, but before that I was a public school teacher. I taught high school in Northern Virginia, and think about where the pay comes. How do you raise money to build schools and pay teachers and pay bus drivers and cafeteria staff? It comes from property taxes, and it comes from wealth accumulation, and the more wealth accumulation you have, the more property taxes you have. The higher the value of the homes, the higher the value of the properties. That's where the teachers want to work. That's where the teachers want to move to and teach in those buildings, because they're going to get paid more money. I can tell you that teaching is tough, and teachers don't get paid enough. But I think we can solve a lot of those problems if we incentivize more economic activity, not less economic activity. Taking away from those who have and giving it to those who don't isn't going to incentivize them to invest more money. And when you have more investment, you have more jobs, as you're saying. But I mean, we need to create more wealth. We do that by having lower taxes on capital, lower taxes on income, and maybe raising our revenues through other means.
Yeah, well, and lower taxes makes it easier for individuals to start businesses. If we change the codes in terms of having to register businesses and start businesses, and get rid of the interventionist policies that restrict, that make it more difficult for smaller businesses to compete with the large ones that might get government subsidies and things like this. It's oftentimes the intervention itself that inhibits that.
Yeah.
And and the fact is too that when you have businesses able to compete, what they're competing for is to create better services, because the one that gives the best service and the lowest price for those services is going to be the one that prevails.
Yeah.
If they don't have that incentive, they're not going to bother with it.
Yeah.
And that's why you always see these state-run institutions like the DMV and
Yeah.
God forbid, or like they want to talk about state health care. Yeah, go look at what our veterans are getting, in terms of free health care, where they don't care anymore.
Yeah.
What incentive do they have to care about quality of service?
Yeah, well,
Right?
that's what you guys do. You want to have the best news, you want to have the fairest news, or you don't want to have news that's maybe biased, or because maybe people are tired of biased news reporting. They want honest, truthful reporting. You don't see a lot of that. In my profession, in fundraising, you want to give good service to your donors. You want to communicate to your donors as often and as clearly as you can the goals that we've reached and the things that the organization's doing. And because of that, we get more contributions. You're right. I mean, your Uber driver that dropped me off here. I mean, if he wasn't a good Uber driver and the car wasn't clean and the air conditioner didn't work in 102-degree heat, he wouldn't have gotten the 15% tip that I gave him, and that's going to incentivize him to continue to give good service, and he's going to make more money, and he's going to pay more in taxes, and he might be able to take that money that he makes and save it and invest it, and that institution that invests that money is then going to invest that in things that people who are a lot smarter than me think would be a good investment, and they're going to hire people, and that happens every day, and if more and more that happens, I think the more better off society is.
So where can people learn more about your organization?
Taxfoundation.org is our website. I'll be running around here for the next couple days. We have a couple other folks here, but we're based in Washington, D.C., and all of our staff is on our website. So that's probably the best way.
Great. Well, real pleasure having you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate
Great.
that.
Thank you. Everyone, please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.